This is All Things Ansys, a podcast from the technical support staff at PADT, episode 107. We get an update on Ansys AGI and digital mission simulation, along with news and events from the world of Ansys. Welcome to our little podcast. I'm Eric Miller, your host and one of the owners here at PADT. Here in the U.S., we are slowly moving from pandemic to endemic footing, with more people in the office more often and more customers visiting our offices, as well as more travel to see customers, visit partners, and go to events. And it's all ramping up fairly quickly. And was hoping that this would be kind of a cheerful time, but unfortunately, this good news has been sorely tamped down by the war in Ukraine. I'll be honest, I cannot get my head around how horrible it must be for people in the country and for many listeners who are from Ukraine and may have family and friends trying to survive. I'm truly speechless. So please join me in a moment of silence to contemplate, pray, send positive thoughts, whatever you need to do. Let's just take a little break here. Okay, let's just focus right now on the world of Ansys, a place I know at least I feel at home and safe in. So let's move forward with that. Today we have an update interview on AGI. If you remember, Ansys acquired AGI at the end of 2020, and the process of making them part of the Ansys family has gone very fast, actually. But instead of me telling you all that and kind of guessing at things, let's hear it from Nate McBee, who is an integral part of the technical team as part of that family. So let's hear what he has to share with us. I want to thank everybody for joining us today for another interview. Today, as promised, we're going to be talking with the folks from Ansys AGI. If you're a regular listener, you know that we had a conversation with them soon after the acquisition to learn more about the tool set and where it fits into the world of Ansys, and we promised an update. And that's what we're going to do today. And I'm fortunate enough to be joined by Nate McBee, who works on the Ansys AGI team. And Nate, why don't we start off talking about yourself, how you got into engineering and what you do with the AGI team.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I started back in 2004. I did my undergrad and master's in aerospace engineering, and I joined up with AGI and really started doing a lot of our direct customer support and looking at supporting some of our strategic customers. And it just gave me a lot of experience into how customers are trying to use, and leverage modeling and simulation techniques to solve some really difficult problems, right? And our industry being mostly across, starting from space and looking at satellite modeling and simulation, there's plenty of hard problems to solve there. So it's been an interesting journey and kind of a nonstop learning process. So I'm definitely still in the learning phase, no matter how long you spend in the industry. And now as part of Ansys, there's just a whole portfolio of new tools that are available to us. So it's been great so far.
Yeah. It's users always keep us on our toes. And you give them a set of tools, and they take it way past where we thought we would, and want more. And it's one of the fun parts of the job I love about working in the simulation world. Well, just for those that didn't hear our first podcast or are unaware, let's actually begin with a very high level overview of what the tool set is. And what mission simulation is from a very high level.
Sure. Yeah. So we got started creating a software. It's become pretty well an industry standard called Satellite Toolkit, and that was early on with AGI. And its primary function then is to give engineers and operators a very high fidelity understanding and prediction of where their satellites were going to be, where their ground stations were, how they could point and orient antennas, and taking into account uncertainty and different propagation models. And as we grew and mature those capabilities, it turned into a multi-domain mission modeling tool. So I would say maybe 10 plus years ago, we kind of went through a rebranding, and it's called Systems Toolkit. So that's the current version of our software, and it really is our flagship product. And it extends now. Of course, we still have a very strong modeling simulation heritage for space-based assets. But we've included now and grown into multi-domain. So it could be very well, terrestrial networks and aircraft systems, other airborne assets and platforms, ground vehicles, maritime. So it really is a kind of a digital modeling sandbox for all of these moving systems. So it takes a modeling and simulation paradigm that is very system of systems. So you're combining, your best in breed digital models for all of those systems, and trying to figure out how they interact, what the quality of their relationships are between each other, whether you're analyzing RF signals or radar detectability, or it could be just plain intervisibility capabilities. So yeah, that's really what we do at the core, is just provide that backbone of modeling and simulation for that system of systems level of architecture.
That's a good way to look at it, system of systems. And the problem with a podcast is it's not visual. And I highly recommend that people go to the Ansys website and go to the AGI part of it and check out the videos of the product, because it'll click once you see all the things you can do as your products move through space and space, both terrestrial and outer space, and seeing the system level simulation that you can do, and it's very visually rewarding, as well as a ton of good data that you would have to do a lot of very expensive testing to get otherwise. So I highly recommend you check out the videos. So the acquisition happened a little while ago. COVID time, I'm not sure if it was 6 years ago or 6 months ago, but it's been going forward, and I think you guys are fairly well built into the company now. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, we joined in with Ansys, I think in December of 2020. So we had a lot to do within that first year, for sure. We're a fairly mature company, 30 plus years. So we've got a pretty well established user base, and processes. We have some software that aspects of the software that go through some restrictions for government customers. So there was a lot of detail and things we had to go through during that acquisition period. And I'd say one of the most significant parts of that is trying to get our products aligned and positioned to grow and sort of matriculate into all the other Ansys products. There's a ton of capability that comes from multi-physics solvers that are just, it makes perfect sense to establish those inroads and, share simulation results back and forth and influence, the digital models and mature digital twins of all these systems. And there's so much capability there. So that's been a big focus for us early in the process, is to sort of get in line with the rest of the Ansys portfolio and offer our products in a very similar, streamlined fashion. So there've been a lot of changes to the way we offer the products and bundle our capabilities. And I would say for a lot of users, it's probably a breath of fresh air, because we went through a very significant product simplification. So, going from a very modular based offering to a very bundled offering. So the good news is you're going to get a lot of capability even at an entry level with SDK. Right out of the gate, you'll be modeling and simulating across multi-domain systems and doing a lot of integration across the other Ansys tools, right there from the beginning.
That's great to know, and a real strong point, of course, of any kind of a big change like that. It's kind of like when you move, you get a chance to clean up and reorganize your cupboards and the way you store stuff in your garage and things. And I think that we've seen that with every, sometimes Ansys acquires a small company and it's not that big of a deal, but AGI is a significant organization, and it's a moving is hard, but in the end, you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. So we're excited about it. Those of us on the Ansys side were ecstatic when it happened, and glad to see how quick the progress went. I think, AGI touted itself as an open and integratable product, a set of products, and it actually is. It's gone fairly quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing some really early integration capabilities coming from spreading across the Ansys electronics tool suite. And it makes a lot of sense for us to be able to, include results from tools like HFSS and SBR Plus, and just apply those right to systems that are already moving and exist on the SDK side. So we've made progress in making that easy, right? Just data interoperability between those tools. We're exploring a lot of cross-product integrations, with mechanical and fluids, and there's really just kind of no end in sight. Every time we have joint customer interactions, it's just full of ideas. So yeah, there'll be plenty more to come for sure.
Well, and now with ZMAX coming on board, I'm sure that there's going to be some really cool on-orbit optics or in-car optics that we're going to be able to do down the road with the systems desktop and our toolkit, so system toolkit, and the ZMAX stuff. So I'm excited about that as well. So
yeah, a lot of opportunity with commercial space, right? You see so many satellites being launched that are relying on laser and optical communication methods. So yeah, those integrations and overlaps just make a ton of sense.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So one of the things I wanted to bring up is, Ansys has really kind of doubled down on their focus on government initiatives, and what role is the AGI team playing in that from a structural standpoint for those of us those of our listeners who are on the government side of things?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a rebranding, I guess, for us. We are now. Luckily, we don't have to change our acronym, but but we're going from Analytical Graphics Incorporated to the Ansys Government Initiatives Group. So we're going to be responsible for continuing to maintain and serve all of our federal, A&D government customers and government initiatives. It really gives us an opportunity to expand what we've already been offering, to that market and those end users, to now include all the rest of these Ansys products. So there is some reorganization there, but if anything, it's really just opening the aperture for us to better serve, what has been our traditional end users across government organizations. So yeah, we're excited to be able to bring those customers and better serve them with the expanded portfolio of modeling simulation tools.
Somebody deserves a little bit of a bonus there for keeping the AGI acronym going. That's great, because it takes me years to stop using the original naming for the companies when they get acquired. So
yeah, there's probably something to be said there. It seems like a pattern, right? We early on in the company's history, we had Satellite Toolkit, and we rebranded to Systems Toolkit. So we got to keep SDK, and I think there was a fight to keep AGI, right? So
good.
I don't know if it's clever or just lazy, right?
I think it's clever. It's a acronym that has some strong positive marketing momentum behind it. Yeah. It is. I never liked the term the gold standard, but it's the gold standard for this type of thing, and I think keeping it is good. It helps everybody know what's going on. So that's good. So you traditionally served aerospace and defense. I assume that that's going to continue to be a focus. Anything you want to say about that? And then also, what's the coming focus on non-traditional markets for your team?
Yeah, definitely continued focus, if not, doubling down on aerospace and defense. Just being able to, like we said, serve those traditional markets with even more, best in class tools. Our non-traditional markets, I think that's just kind of green pastures. It's wide open for us for opportunity. We haven't spent a lot of time exploring those, right? So when we have interactions with sales teams and account managers across the Ansys organization at large, they see the capabilities that a product like SDK can bring, and they start asking, can this be used for X or Y? And the reality is, most of the time, you can answer yes to that. Just we haven't done it yet. So there's plenty of opportunity there. And the early ones that we see for sure are around a combination of Ansys electronics, the SDK tools, looking at non-terrestrial networks and 5G and future conceptual smart city type of applications. Yeah. And there's just a lot there to unpack and open up and figure out where's the fit between all these tools and how to bring them all together. But that's exciting. And looking forward to a lot of those other, new markets, new initiatives that we just haven't traditionally been included in or even had the bandwidth to go and explore on our own.
Yeah, I've been on a career-long quest to replace Excel wherever possible, and I think that there's a lot of industries out there where people have very complicated spreadsheets that map out their missions, basically, how their product is moving or where it's located and how things interact. And having a tool that makes that so much easier and so much more powerful and so much more robust is going to open up a lot of eyes. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Yeah, we look forward to seeing those case studies as they come out and see how people are clever. It comes up all the time in our discussions with our customers, and really, really excited about getting them looking at it more and more. So, looking forward to that. The other thing I wanted to really cover is I think you kind of mentioned this, but I think you're on the release cycle with the rest of the Ansys family now. Is that right? So you're 2022 R1.
Yeah, we are. We just released our latest, newest version, which is SDK 12.4. Okay. And we're getting in lockstep there with the rest of the Ansys products as part of the 2022 R1 release. So that was just made available. It's got a lot of changes, especially in terms of getting our products licensed and delivered, similar to all the other Ansys products that are in the portfolio. So there's some changes there. Obviously, the product repackaging that we went through and spoke about earlier, and then just some new capabilities. Looking at capabilities that align with bringing more model-based systems engineering capabilities to the market through SDK and some of the AGI tools. We have a new feature now for modeling large constellation designs. So thinking of
appropriate,
yeah, very, very appropriate. Commercial space. We see all these elaborate, several thousand satellite constellation designs come out, and that you can imagine doing that in a traditional design approach can be a heavy lift on the simulation side. So yeah, we've come out with some new capabilities that make that a lot easier and much more efficient computationally to explore those constellation designs. And just a lot of small usability changes that come as part of this release. So yeah, just some really cool stuff. And moving forward, looking to get into that more rapid release cycle. So we'll have 2022 R1, R2, and hopefully keep up that cadence.
I don't know if you've talked to any of the people that have been in Ansys development for a long time, but we struggled over many years to get to this cadence and tried a lot of different things, and it can be a little overwhelming for development. But once you get into the cadence, it's a great way to do it, and it gets features out there faster, and also doesn't rush some features. And it's nice on the user side because we know we're going to get 2 releases a year, and here's when they come, and we're huge fans of it. So glad you guys are on that bandwagon. Getting into the weeds a little bit here, from my perspective and my background, what a little bit of what I did when I used to do simulation was some on-orbit thermodynamics. And one of the things we're hoping to see is the ability to maybe couple Ansys mechanical and do thermal simulation, or the HFSS, and be able to look at radiation and things like that for satellites and other things on orbit. How's that coming along?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're speaking our language, because those are capabilities and use cases that we've been focused on for a long time. Mm-hmm. It was one of our early ideas for cross-product integrations with another Ansys product from the EMA group, so EMA cable and EMA charge. Mm-hmm. We have a space environment effects capability. So when you put objects on orbit, you can then analyze what their exposure to various types of radiation would be. Of course, heating and thermal loading and those sort of things. And then taking those and pushing that data back out to products like the EMA charge or Ansys mechanical, and looking at how those radiation or heat signatures affect that vehicle itself, and of course all the onboard payload. So if obviously you've got comm and RF and radar and other things to consider there. So yeah, we were able to do some pretty easy data interoperability studies there between some of those tools. Maybe it was 2 years back now, and of course COVID time, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it was even more. But we had a joint digital engineering forum, and those resources I think are still available on our website. Okay. One of the examples was with Ansys mechanical for CubeSat thermal analysis. It was very cool to see that, because we typically don't go down to that microchip level and looking at reliability studies and fatigue and other things, right? So it was very eye-opening to be able to say, like, you really can go from microchip to the mission, right, or vice versa, and look at all the effects and all those individual design elements. They all trickle through that entire system, and they impact it usually in various different ways. So yeah, there's some very cool stuff coming out of the engineering teams, just looking at those early integrations, and definitely thermal analysis was one of those early adopters.
That's awesome. I can't wait to get our hands on that and have our customers use it as well, because it's one of those cumbersome Excel based things a lot of times these days. So
please don't use Excel.
Excel should be used for your personal finances and making to-do lists. That's it. Love it. Anything you want to share with our listeners about the product family or the team or the company before we head out?
Just again, thanks for having me on. We look forward to working with new customer bases. PADT in particular, obviously, is a fantastic Ansys channel partner. Looking forward to being brought into a lot more opportunities and adjacent markets that maybe we haven't traditionally been involved in. If customers and listeners are not familiar with AGI, maybe this is the first time you've been exposed, I would, again, just encourage, go to the website. If you're like me, you're probably a visual learner as well. Mm-hmm. Check us out on YouTube. There's so many tutorials and getting started things. If you like to, roll up your sleeves and get a hold of the software and give it a shot. tons of material out there to help you get started with that. So definitely encourage that.
Excellent. Yeah, I forgot about there's some fantastic YouTube stuff out there. So yeah, take a look at it. And as always, reach out to whoever you get your answers from. They'd love to hear any questions about this tool suite or how it integrates with what you're already using or how you can kind of amp up your system. I love that system of systems simulation and get better and faster and explore more of the design space. I think that's one of the things we're starting to see is instead of just running like 2 corner cases, using tools like this, the SDK to kind of run the whole spectrum of the mission and really find out how the product behaves throughout the entire mission. So it's cool stuff. Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your time. Hopefully we'll catch up again soon to figure out what's next and how things are going. And I appreciate your time. It's been really helpful to help me understand where things are and hopefully our listeners as well. So we hope to talk to you soon.
Sure. Yep. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. We'll talk soon. Bye. So as you can tell, the traditional application for this tool set is huge. And the more we explore its capability, the more potential we see with its uses elsewhere. This is a reason, there's a reason why SDK is the industry standard. And as much as I hate the term, the gold standard, it really does do what it says. So do check out the Ansys website to learn more, view some of those great videos, and don't hesitate to reach out with questions. For today's commercial, I want to talk about mentoring, Ansys mentoring specifically. Have you ever looked at your screen after hours of trying to figure out how to do something or fix something and say to yourself, if I could just get access to an expert to help me work through this, I'd get to results so much faster. Well, that's exactly what PADT's Ansys mentoring is all about. You get access to our team of experts by the hour, and they can help you one-on-one in whatever way you need. We have been offering it for over 20 years, and our customers who take advantage of this service keep coming back for more. You do not have to be one of PADT's Ansys customers or even located in the United States to use our mentoring services. So please reach out to us at info@padtinc.com, or you can send an email to our support email address, swsupport@padtinc.com. Ask about our mentoring services, and we'll help you out. Mentoring, it's the fastest and most cost-effective way to overcome any technical challenge you face in your Ansys usage. All right, let's take a look at the Ansys stock right now as we get into the news. Well, and in general, things are down because of the reasons, especially the war in Ukraine. It's been a big driver as well. So, it's not going well across the board, Ansys included. So this morning, which is March 10th, I looked when I got to the office this morning and the market was open in New York. Ansys is at about $304. It was at that time about $304 a share. And it was bouncing around quite a bit. So I'm not sure what it'll end up for the day. That's down 24% since January 1st. Where the S&P is down 11%. So we'll keep our eye on that and let you know how it progresses through all these things we have no control over. Ansys news-wise, there was really only one important bit of news. They partnered with Global Foundries. It's kind of hard to explain what it's about, so let me just read to you the subheading. Ansys and Global Foundries collaborate to offer first-of-its-kind silicon photonics solution to address the explosive growth of data volume while significantly reducing power consumption. So, what does that mean? Global Foundries is one of those companies like TSMC, and Intel's building a new fab for this, where they make chips for other companies. Companies that are called fabless companies have to find a fab to make their chips. That's what Global Foundries does. So this collaboration lets companies that want to design devices that have both the computational and memory stuff on them, as well as the fiber optic communication source and reader on them as well, right? So you can combine it all together in one place. And it's kind of a big deal. If you're doing that kind of networking and you want to take advantage of the latest optical networking capability, this is going to be a big deal and is another example of them really coming up with workflows that work by partnering with folks and partnering with one of the biggest fab places in the world. It should pay off. So good stuff there. In PADT news, if you were listening to the last podcast, you kind of got an insider scoop on the fact that we were going to launch a new website, and it's up there. It is we did it quietly because we're still debugging it a little bit, but we figured the best thing to do is get it up there and debug it while it was live. But please check it out and let us know what you think. Everything in our blog is still there. It just looks better now. So let us know what you think about that. Speaking of blogs, the Ansys blog, there's only one article that I really liked in there. Well, actually two. The first one is that in a previous podcast, I mentioned that there was a really good article from some of the HFSS team about 5G and aircraft safety, right? There's this concern of, can airplanes land where there's 5G towers? They've done a part 2 and a part 3. Do check those out to understand not just what is going on with this whole issue, but also the role of simulation plays to make sure things are safe. So I found that really useful. And the other blog article that I want to point out is that Ansys announced Simulation World 2022. And they announced it in the blog and all over the place as well. If you ever log on the website, you'll see it. It's May 18th and registration is open now. It's the third year. This is a virtual conference and it's really learning more towards information for leaders. It's not really a, here's an entire day of people showing off their Ansys models. It's really about how to use simulation in your business better. So, and they even say, who should go is CXOs, heads of engineering or operations, leaders in product design and development, product managers, sustainability leaders, as well as heads of R&D, startup leaders, technology evangelists, industry analysts, journalists, and academia. So if that's you, do check out the Simulation World. We didn't add anything to PADT blog for Ansys related stuff because we were moving the website, so nothing there. Upcoming events, we do have a webinar coming up for high and low frequency electromagnetics in 2022 R1, I guess it is. And that's going to be on, March 23rd. So as usual, it's going to be on brighttalk.com, or you can go to our website, our new website, and go to the events page and see how to register from there as well. So that's pretty cool. A heads up that PADT and Ansys will be at the Space Symposium, April 4th through 7th in Colorado Springs. In fact, Nate, who was just did our interview today, will be there in the Ansys booth. And I'll be at the Arizona Space Industry booth. We're doing a whole big thing for a bunch of Arizona companies, and I'll be there as well. So if you do go to the Space Symposium, stop by and say hi to both of us. I'll also be at what they now call Design, Engineer, Build. That's the big show in Anaheim that used to be MD&M and a bunch of other shows. Now it's all combined together. It's called IME West Design, Engineer, Build. Having said all that, PADT will have a booth. I'm hosting one of the conference tracks also on Wednesday. I'll be all day in the conference hosting a track on a bunch of different things on automation and 3D printing and all sorts of cool things going on in the world of engineering. So that's what's coming up event-wise. We hope to see you at some of those. Do stop by and say hi. And that's it for the podcast. So I want to thank everybody once again for listening and spread the word to other folks about the podcast, get the subscriptions up, and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter to learn everything that's going on at PADT. And that's at www.padtinc.com/opt-in. And as always, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for joining us for the All Things Ansys podcast, episode 107. As a reminder, this podcast is not affiliated in any way with Ansys Inc., and the opinions expressed are those of the people on the show only, and not of their current or former employers. For more information, visit www.padtinc.com/blog, and please share your thoughts and questions through an email to podcast@padtinc.com. See you next time.